Instant Browns classic.
Hey, whatever. Hey, that's what this game's about. Let's go!
The Cleveland Browns are America's team.
And it's all over. The Browns are winners today.
Good Sunday evening to you all out there. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Welcome into another episode of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Jacob. That's Bill. Casey Kinnaman down below. We are so grateful and happy that you are here with us this evening. Nick is on assignment. Again, I think he just doesn't like you people. I think that's really what it is.
The one constant on our Sunday shows has been you. So if the shoe fits, buddy.
Well, it is what it is, I suppose. But we appreciate y'all for joining in with us. I hope you had, like I said, had a great combine weekend. Started on Thursday. It was a lot. The workouts were on Thursday. The whole week starts on Tuesday. It was fun as always. Interesting take backs from all those things. So if you're joining us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate that very much. Gentlemen, how are we?
Man, I'm good. A little bit sunburnt. You can't really tell because of the lighting, but I got a lot of yard work done, man. It was just combine, yard work. I read a little bit of Absolute Batman. I was bummed, though, because just now at 7:30, SpaceX was supposed to launch a Falcon 9 rocket out of Florida, which had been visible from here. They delayed it to 9:56. So,
okay. That's a really weird time, like 56.
It was 7:34 was the initial launch. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what Elon's on, but like, I wanted to watch it though, because they're taking a bunch of Starlink satellites up. It's supposed to give like a jellyfish type, like a purple flame type thing you can see from a distance. And so now I got to wait.
Yeah. Now, you guys, great week in Indianapolis at the Combine. It felt like, there was always something happening, always boots on the ground, always love meeting with everybody, talking with everybody, chatting with everybody. A lot to cover from the Combine, a lot to cover from the draft side, a lot to cover from the Brown side. I think we just dive right in, guys. I think we just dive right in. And where do we want to start tonight?
We start with Andrew Berry, probably, right? Like Andrew Berry speaks. Todd Monken, Todd Monken was swagged out, and the story behind that is still probably the greatest story I've ever heard. But Andrew Berry spoke on, when did he speak? Tuesday?
It was Tuesday.
It was the first day of the Combine. He spoke on Tuesday. A lot of nothing burgers in there, kind of, that you kind of expect that out of Andrew Berry when he speaks, especially at the Combine before anything has happened. I thought some of the phrasing was interesting, like, oh, we might be more aggressive, but maybe we're a year away from being super hyper aggressive. Like, and I'm like, I don't, because my thing is, if you're tanking, this is my take. I think you really fucked up the decision at head coach if you're going to just punt this year by taking Monken, because if you're punting on this year and you're just waiting and you're just trying to get young guys reps and feel some things out, then you might as well have let a coach come in and let them start figuring some things out. A coach that could be here for the long term, because like, you know, Monken's a limited term at 60 years old. I mean, it's just facts are facts, right? So I thought the way those things were phrased were a little bit weird.
Yeah, Monken's the oldest first-time NFL head coach in history.
Right.
And Andrew Berry was the youngest GM in history at the time of his hire. It's just weird to see those two worlds come together. Yeah, I mean, Andrew Berry could tell me the sky's blue. I'm not believing it this time of year.
No.
Like, he could have said anything, and it's like, okay, buddy. Like, all right, this is not the time of year to take any stock in those words at the combine for sure.
No, absolutely that, and that was the growing sentiment around the folks in Indianapolis when Andrew Berry got up there to speak. The one thing that I did take away from Andrew Berry when he spoke, and he slipped up because it kind of gave an insight into what he's doing. He explained that Browns are entering a 2-year period this year and next where they're going to be at the top of the league in draft capital after coming off of a 3-year period where they didn't have draft capital. And he said that draft capital increase is going to have an impact on their strategy and risk aversion. And when I hear that in my mind, that means that they're going to start taking more swings and more risks, not necessarily with the players, but when you start to see, hey, we've got a guy here that we really like, we think we can get him at 11 or 12, we might just slide back and just risk it and hope he's there and pick up additional capital too.
Yeah, what I really liked, the one thing that, and again, as you said, Case, you kind of got to be a little bit hesitant to listen to what he says, but I like that he did say was, just because we're young doesn't mean we're not going to be competitive. He said something along the lines of like, he really, it was like, he said things that suggest tanking, and then he also was trying to be like, well, not necessarily, right? And it's just because we're going to be young. And one thing that I thought that was a very interesting quote, because if you look at the success they did have last year, a lot of it had to do with rookies. Like the rookie class and the young guys like Alex Wright making contributions. Yeah, Malik Collins, the veteran, had a big impact there as well, but that was kind of like a little bit of, veteran leadership sprinkled in that had a lot of it. If they can knock this draft out of the park like they did last year's draft, I do think they can be more competitive. But like, that's a pretty big if, and they got
a huge ask right there.
Yeah. And I wrote that in an article using that quote that Barry had said. And I'm like, hey, it's a pretty big if, but if you're sitting here, and you do the same thing you did this time, in the next couple of months, like you did at the exact same time last year, yeah, you're going to be a more competitive team. If you're able to have that many impact players brought in, and it sets you up for a really, really good run, long-term run, if you're able to do it that way. But yeah, it's very obvious that like, there's not going to be a lot of like, you're not signing somebody in their 30s. Now, do I think they'll go and take some big swings potentially at some of these like 26 and 27-year-olds? I kind of do. I kind of think there is going to be a few moves here and there, and then they're just going to, see where they go from there and build around the quarterback position. Doesn't sound like Malik Willis is really in the cards. I'll hold out until he's not. Yeah. Like I'm going to hold out hope until he's not totally in the cards. But like it definitely was. There was a lot of nothing, but at the same time, it was very clear that they're like, yeah, we're using this draft capital to set us up long term. That's kind of my takeaway.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like the quote, the biggest misconception is youth equals lack of performance. I think you point to teams like Philadelphia and Green Bay who still got it done while having young rosters, but veterans at key points. And when I hear that, that means that their strategy in free agency is like, hey, we're not afraid to go get a veteran, but signing a 33-year-old player for a 1 or 2 year deal is just not going to be in the play. But if he's 29, 30, we're okay with that. We are okay with that risk aversion that he talked about earlier in the presser.
Yeah, there's a big feeling for me that changed before the combine to after the combine. It wasn't for anything that was said. I just went into the combine thinking the Browns got to be looking offensive tackle, wide receiver, boy, it feels a lot more like there's some defensive players that are actually in play right now that didn't feel like that going into it, right?
Okay, so Bill and I did combine recap shows for the first 2 days. We didn't do one yesterday. At the tail end of this show, we're going to talk about Monken and Andrew Berry and stuff. At the tail end, we'll talk about a little bit more in depth about yesterday and tonight and today's combine stuff. But yeah, dude, we were talking about it on Thursday night and Friday night, like the defensive linemen, the linebackers, like the defensive backs. The defensive backs averaged 4.44 as a group in the 40-yard dash. A 4.44 was the average, meaning there was quite a few of them under that, and able to break some speed where it was like, Lorenzo Styles Jr., like he's not going to vault himself into the first round or anything like that. But you're talking about a guy that was somewhere on day 3 that ran a 4.28, and you're like, huh? And then you look at like Arvell Reese and then Styles' brother Sonny Styles and the crazy athletic feats they had. Kenyon Sadiq at tight end, like, oh my goodness, there's some defensive players where you're sitting here and you gotta have a really. I'm sorry, guys, we will get to the comments because I know they're going crazy.
Yes,
but yeah, you look at some of those performances and you just like I always talk about the combine as just being like a barometer for what their ceiling is, what a player's ceiling is, because you're testing like, hey, this is the athletic. It may not show up completely on tape, but like this is how we determine a ceiling. Oh God, there's some defensive players that like if you're like, hey, the Browns took Sonny Styles, I don't know that Sonny Styles will make it 6, but if he was there and you're like, hey, I'm gonna stick Sonny Styles next to Carson Schlesinger, am I gonna be mad about that? No.
When's the last time an off-ball linebacker, though, went in the top 5?
2019 with Devin White. So 7 years ago. But
he rode a horse. I remember that. I remember
he was flying. Footage. And Jacob's is spot on. You look at the average 40-yard dash time of all the position groups, they all were the fastest average 40-yard dash time in combine history. That's since 1999 when they first started. Except for quarterback, which was second.
Yeah, second.
Like they were flying from Thursday night on, and Jacob's right. I've talked about it. When you look at it, there is a high likelihood that Caleb Downs, Ohio State safety, who's probably the best of the top 4 Ohio State prospects, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Carnell Tate, and Downs, there's a high likelihood Downs is 4th of 4.
Of those 4.
Yeah.
Just because of positional value.
Bingo.
But even then you could argue that was Styles. I mean, off-ball linebacker in this league's not – I mean, he made himself so much fucking money this weekend just by checking boxes. Because for me, it's not like you're not drafting based on what they ran or whatever, but it's just a confirmation of the tape. You see the tape, it's like, okay, this kid looks fast on tape, but what is it really? And it's just funny too, because no matter what now, that's who he is for life. He'll be talked about that in 5 years. He's 4.4 or whatever. And it's like a calling card for everyone at the combine. Whatever you run at the combine, you get that tag to your name for life, regardless if you're still that fast or not. You know what I mean? He made himself a fuck ton of money.
Yeah, that I agree with you though, because we had the conversation where like, man, there are a couple of defensive players now that like maybe like we always knew that, we knew going into these things these were good players, but then you're kind of like, it reminds me of a few years back when Chris Olave ran what he ran in the 40-yard dash, where I was like, I knew Chris Olave was fast, but he like went out there and put it to a level where I was like, okay, maybe he has a higher, like maybe they're just scratching the surface. Like some of these, like Sonny Styles is just scratch. I mean, he was a safety 2 years ago. That's just like he's just like I'm gonna step down here and I'm just gonna do some like some crazy shit. And like some of the defensive linemen here, Josh says here's the Styles down, Reese, Bain, and Bailey all go before 10.
Downs does now.
No, I can tell you the growing sentiment is that there is a high chance that he won't, partially because of positional value. partially because there is an issue with his medicals that he did get flagged for a meniscus issue, as well as some ACL issues that are giving some teams pause. It's not anything to worry about long term, but when you don't come out with a clean bill of health at the combine, you go through a medical recheck. I don't see a world where Downs is in the top 10, but if you told me probably 12 to Miami or 13 to Dallas, right there.
Give me any Styles. Shit, go get me AJ Styles.
Hey,
I watched the AJ Styles like getting into the WWE Hall of Fame was pretty great for him because
absolutely.
Just retired and said he's staying retired. I saw a video of him talking about how him and Undertaker are that meme, and him and Undertaker were talking about it, and we're like, of course we had no fucking clue. Like that, we thought it was going to be like a pretty cool shot. People would be like, yeah, this was fun, and then all of a sudden, here we are. This is one of the most famous memes that you see literally every single day. You see it. It's like, so moving on to Todd Monken. And if you guys have not heard, so Monken was he was swagged out in Nike gear, right? Like, and I thought, man, this looks relatively new. So the Baltimore Ravens had an account with him for Nike, had however many dollars in it. It was set to expire after that day. That day that he spoke, which was Wednesday, and he went out and spent it all. And went to the Nike store, spent all that money he had on the account, and it was the swag that he wore to his presser, which was fantastic. It's really interesting because he's not going to come out and straight up say things like, oh yeah, he's not going to name a starting quarterback before free agency. So like people that thought that was a possibility, whatever. But like he definitely came out there and kind of, it was different. It was refreshing. I didn't think there was a lot of stuff to take out of it other than he mentioned, hey, I think Shedur's got elite playmaking in there. Like, I thought that was interesting to say because phrasing with a guy like Todd Monken, I think phrasing matters. And so he put it out there like, yeah, I think it's in there. He's like, God has a long way to go before week 1, but like,
rookie doesn't, and he followed that right up,
Yeah. And he's like, but do I think he can get there and be the week 1 starter? Yeah, I do. And he's like, and Deshaun was great at one point in the NFL in his career. And whenever, someone's great like that at some point, it's worth kicking the tires on. And I'm like, yeah, well, I disagree, but whatever.
He didn't have to live through the same pain that we did.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when he first got to Baltimore, he sat on the sidelines and watched Deshaun Watson lead a game-winning drive his last game before he got hurt. So, you know what I mean? He was on the sidelines for that.
I didn't even think about that's exactly how that lined up. That's a good point. When we thought we were Super Bowl contenders for 3 days, and then he blew out
Wednesday. Yeah, it was a weird one.
That like Tuesday or Wednesday, they're like, yeah, his season's over. We're like, great. He looked like his old self, and then it was never again. But yeah, no, I thought Monken handled everything really well. And one thing that I loved about it was, he had like 15 minutes in front of everybody. And then he did 15 minutes off of the podium to the side with media. And Zach Jackson was just like, there was a lot of shits and F-bombs and stuff like that. And I'm just like, and then what did he, oh my God, I can't think of what he said. He said something and we said it in the Discord, and I was like, just when I think I can't like this man anymore, I hope he wins a lot of games.
Was it his quote about practicing physical where he said we're going to hit? I don't think you can play physical and practice soft, because that was a big one for a lot of people. That was like, hey, this is different. Like Stefanski's practices felt kind of it was, and Monken's feel.
It was an off the collar thing that he said. It wasn't like
I'm excited to swap out Kevin Stefanski for some Monken quotes on the intro.
Yes,
we're going to need a couple more pressers, and I'll have plenty of ammunition to swap out some stuff, and hoping to get that raspy voice saying something crazy, something saucy on there.
Yeah, and then Shadur Sanders sent him a porcelain horse head for his birthday. Yeah, you guys see that as the he was like, what the hell? Anything from you guys about from what Monken said?
No, I mean, dude, he everything's off the cuff. It's nothing's pre-planned. He doesn't come in with slogans that he's trying to brand during these things. He's just going to answer the questions honestly. And I think the most telling thing is he said, I think it's fair to say that based on tape, we don't have a clear-cut starter right now.
Yeah.
So I just everybody keep an open mind. I think whoever plays the best in camp's going to get the nod. It's not going to be based on politics, where someone was drafted, what kind of contract, none of that shit. Who can win us games? We'll play football. So
I think that's exactly it. Todd Monken has the foresight to say whoever the starter has to earn it, right? Like, I don't care if you were a first-round pick. I don't care if you were a fifth-round pick. I don't care if you were an undrafted free agent. Like, whoever is the best 52 men will be on the roster. If you are not one of those, then you are not on the roster.
And I think that was really important was that I really liked. He said, I don't choose who plays, the players choose who play.
bang.
Bingo.
And that one for me was like,
Bar.
okay, like, yeah, like preach, brother, preach, like that, because that's how it should be. That's absolutely how it should be.
And that's not been how it's been. So
No.
Nope.
And then, so we got the leaks, right, of the NFL Players Association report card.
yeah, let's talk about the leak portion of it though, because like they fought hard to not have that shit released.
And we got
I
everything.
forget who it was at ESPN was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember her. I think it was Kelsey. I think her name was Let me see if I can find it.
It was Kalen Kaler from ESPN.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I want to see if I can. I know Daryl Ryder had it up. So I'm gonna find
well,
it.
I want to talk
I was
about the
saying,
most egregious thing that I have ever read in any of those reports.
Go for it.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have five bathroom stalls in their facility. 5
For the whole team.
And that's when there's 90 men on the roster in the summer.
Mhm.
Every coach, can you imagine the destruction those 5 stalls see on a daily basis? And that's
know what
we're putting in.
Speaking of Pittsburgh, you know what really got me with their report card? We know that turf in their stadium is just terrible.
Garbage.
They were the only one to get an F-.
I didn't even know that was a
game
thing.
field. I didn't know you could go that low. I thought F was the bottom of the barrel.
This was the
So
first
did
year they
I.
had that on the report card, by the way.
Yeah.
Or they would have probably reigning champs at that.
Yeah. Let's see.
I say I've got Cleveland's pulled up too.
I wonder if they will go to a golf course to work out. I would love to see Monken golf. You know that, dude. Like, I would love to go golfing with Monken.
I just want to be on the cart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just
give me on the cart, because you know he's knocking a couple back, and then he just goes and hits a 300-yard drive like it's another day at the office.
I did not say a porcelain horse head. No,
Connie, you are winning. That is post of the night so far.
I put that comment on the screen before I read it. No, Shadur Sanders sent Monken a porcelain horse. Like,
yeah, like if you've ever seen the movie Godfather with the horse head in the bed, like that, but not in Monken's bed and porcelain.
and he said he liked it so much he bought himself one.
Hey, cool. Great way to send a game check. Yeah.
So I got the Cleveland Browns report card here.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I wanted to point out was there was only one head coach in the NFL that got a C-. That was the lowest grade that was given out, and that was Kevin Stefanski. He received a C-. Keep in mind that was it a B+ that Todd Monken got as the offensive coordinator?
I believe I'm pulling it up now.
It was a B or a B+.
It was a B-.
Okay, that's fine. That's not a C-. So the treatment of families for the Browns was a D-.
That's been like that though.
Yeah.
That's sad. Is like this is the reason when it's like that one year, it shouldn't be like that the next year.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like, I would love a little bit more clarity on some of those things. Like what are they doing exactly? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure.
And I'll give some insight too. Part of those treatment of families is like, do you have, a nursing area for expecting mothers? Do you have like changing rooms in all of your bathrooms throughout your facility? So teams that have older facilities or outdated facilities are going to rank lower because they don't have those. It's the same conversation, and Jacob, you were getting to it probably with Cleveland Browns locker room having an F. I fully expect both of those to go up once the new stadium's built.
And I would say that some of these things we're going to go across, the Browns are working to adjust in terms of the facilities. They have sunk a lot of money into Berea. Even more money is going into Brook Park. Like they're doing a lot of changes. The food and dining area was a D+. Locker room was an F. The training room was a C, and the training staff was a C+. But I know they've done a lot of changes and the additions to the locker room or the training room. That's why I thought it would go up.
It was all new training staff pretty much too.
Yeah. Pretty much cleared the weight room, got a B+. Now I know they got a brand new weight room. So so clearly they were able to raise that grade up to a B+. Strength coaches B+, position coaches B-. Tommy Reese got a D+.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was interesting. Jim Schwartz got an A-.
Yeah.
Somehow, Bubba Ventrone only got a D. That was an interesting.
Yeah.
Somehow.
As I say, the other thing too to add to that treatment of families, be it last year, one of the things that the players voted on, and this is one of the questions, is do you believe that the coaches' families are treated better than your families? And from the Browns report card last year, Browns players believe that the coaches' families are treated better than players' families. For example, the coaches' families have a post-game meetup inside the stadium, while the players' families meet in a tent in the parking lot. That got a D+. So imagine what a D- would get you.
Is the tent gone? Is it just meeting up in the parking lot without the tent?
Yeah, that's what did it. Is you no longer have a tarp. You just have to meet up out there.
And it's in the Muni. And that's where everybody's going after the games in the Muni.
Hey, you know what? That might get a higher grade if they.
Yeah, they could only be so lucky if it was in the Muni.
Actually, you're right. That probably would get a higher grade if it was in the Muni, because everybody would be like, especially if it was a win. Oh, everybody would just be like, it'd be great. What's Josh said? Josh always causes some trouble. Team travel scored low. Like any of those guys have to go through TSA like that.
And so with that one, team travel relates to two things. The first one is, do the players believe they have a comfortable amount of space, a comfortable amount of personal space on a team flight? And then do you believe the team's travel schedule is efficient in terms of getting in and out of cities, as well as having time to get prepared for game days?
And I know last year they hit Kevin Stefanski pretty hard about his time management and practice and utilization of his time.
Yep. So a lot of those grades are going to be tied into your coaching staff. Like the treatment of families, that's on the coaching staff, a little bit on the front office, nutritionist, dietitian, training staff, team travel, the coach, the coordinators. A lot of those grades are on your head coach specifically to make sure they optimize the time, to make sure that they do the right things, to make sure they check all the boxes. And that's why you see teams with lower scores in that ranking also have low scores in the head coach ranking too.
So enjoy that, Atlanta fans. Anyway, let's move to the rest of the combine. Is there anything else? Does anybody else have anything about anything that Monken or Barry said or anything like that? No? Okay.
I'm good.
So we'll move on to the rest of the combine. If you want to hear our reactions to day 1 and day 2, they're in the NFL draft playlist here on YouTube, so you can check those out. We'll get some of Casey's thoughts on that stuff too as a whole, but me and Bill did do those shows, so you can check those out if you want to check those out. So since our last show on Friday night, we have seen pretty much the entire offense. The tight ends had gone, but we had quarterbacks and wide receivers and running backs yesterday, and today the offensive linemen. And a guy that if you've been paying attention to this podcast, this took you by no surprise. But Georgia left tackle Monroe Freeling absolutely lived up to the bell. He ends up with a 9.99 relative athletic score. And Bill and I have talked about it for a while. And Casey, you've been with us on the Monroe Freeling train for quite some time as well. But it was, for me, I was like trying to figure out where I was going to put him in my rankings. And I'm like, I'm a traits guy. And I'm like, yeah, man, I think this dude's going to because you see it. You see him running downfield and, hitting linebackers and safeties and corners and stuff. I'm like, man, if this guy checks those boxes, I'm moving him up. Monroe Freeling, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you want Monroe Freeling at this point, I think you got to take him at 6.
Yeah, I think that's my big takeaway is his testing made trading back to get him going very difficult. To thread that needle, you have to land in the top 10 now. You can't trade outside that top 10 if you really want to have a realistic shot at getting him.
I mean, I was mocking him at 24, and I'm like, man, maybe he's there. And Bill's like, let's mock him at 6. And I'm like, but I'm not quite. And then I'm just like, they're going to look at this ceiling because his tape's good. His tape's not bad. It's not like Anthony Richardson where you drafted him just on the combine, just on the athletic testing. But Monroe Freeling, like, he looks so smooth and like he was cooking it. He didn't run the fastest, but listen, as soon as I see a 6'7", 315, I said foot in between, and 315-pound man run a 40 in less than 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing too. Everybody's saying, well, Monroe Freeling, he's got developing to do. He's not the greatest run blocker in the world. He is a league average run blocker right now and a very good, probably the best pass protecting left tackle in this class. But you have to think about it too. A lot of these traits, last year, we had a tackle that was 6'5", 315 with an 84 and 3/8 inch wingspan, 33.5-inch arms, run the 40 in 5.1 seconds, so faster than Freeling, go 9th overall to the Saints. And I'm talking about Kelvin Banks. Like, if those numbers get you in the top 10, imagine what happens when you run 0.2 of a second faster and you're 2 inches taller.
Yeah. For me, it's the 1.72 10-yard split. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't really clean. Like, there was his second step out of the block was a little wide. You know what I mean? But with that kind of frame moving like that, man, there's just not that many people on the planet with that kind of frame and those movement abilities. That's the reason offensive line play is terrible across the league. They just don't have that many humans that meet those dimensions. So yeah, I agree. I think 6 is probably where you're going to have to pick him.
He's a lean 315 is what I want to point out too. So like talking about putting a little bit of weight and power on him to take his run blocking to the next level is very plausible. Like it is absolutely in the cards for him. It's not like sometimes you see these players where you're like, man, they're maxed out at their frame. Like you put anything else on them. No, that's why the height and the length that he has. What was the official wingspan on that? Was it 84?
It was 84 and a half. 84 and a half.
7 feet, brothers. That's 7 feet. Like a condor.
Mm-hmm.
I knew we thought it would be 84, so he even had an additional half an inch.
Those measurements are so weird, though. Like Ruben Bain got reported. What was the official measurement for him? 31.
The official arm length was 30 and 7/8, so just shy of 31.
But teams were measuring them longer because it's measured from the middle of your shoulder to the end of your middle finger. That's how it's done. Which is silly. At no point do you ever block with the end of your hand anyway. Like it should be to the hinge of your wrist. You know what I mean? For certain positions. Receiver, I completely get it being fingertips. But it's archaic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just so weird that you could have different measurements from the Senior Bowl to the combine. Like these dudes grew or shrunk. You know what I mean? They need to get fucking uniform with this stuff, man. This should be an exact science by this point. But if someone just measures the middle of your shoulder different than the next person, then all of a sudden you're labeled with having short arms or vice versa.
This is a no, wrong one. Taking a tackle 6 makes more sense if AB can swing a trade for a wide receiver 1, which I still think is happening. I think that is happening at some point.
Yeah. And while you find that comment, I'm glad Case brought up the 10-yard split. If you look at Monroe Freeling's 10-yard split, it is 9th best all time since it was started to be tracked in 1999. The names above him, Eric Fisher, who went number 1 overall, J.C. Treader, Jake Matthews from Texas A&M, the Atlanta Falcons tackle. There's some other names still there. Some other names, Trevor Penning, has had some up and down time. Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, Cam Jurgens. Basically what I'm saying is this 1.71 10-yard split is a very good predictor of success because there's some names on this list.
None of those dudes were 6'7" either. Eric Fisher is the closest.
Bingo. And he went number 1 overall.
He says it and he doesn't get shit. I put the word foot in between the two numbers and I still got it. The hell? This is bullshit.
Hey, you gotta get used to it. All right.
Sick of this.
I got a 10-year-old daughter. You can't phase me.
No, I know. She does it to you all the time. We've had this conversation. If Freeling goes 6, who's the best right tackle at 24 if we trade for a wide receiver or we wait and use the 2nd and 3rd round picks?
Can I throw a name at you guys and get your feelings on it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big Max, Arizona State. Where do you guys think he lands?
So that's what I was going to say. And here's the thing about Max Ihenacore. I'm saying it however I want to.
Big Max. You see how I handled it?
I did. I appreciated that. The right tackle from who also had a fantastic.
Yeah, dude. He ran a 4.91 as well.
Yeah. The dude's been playing football for 5 years, and I watch the way he moves. And I'm not just talking about his running. I'm not talking about the mirror drills and all the other movement drills of actual movements that tackles make instead of just the running in a straight line. I'm looking at him and I'm like, I again say the same thing that I've said since day one, which is he's not ready. So you can take him, but I want you to take him if you have someone else to start week 1, just because he's been playing football for 5 years. But do I feel comfortable taking him at 24 because I think he has just an astronomically high ceiling because he's just so incredibly physically gifted? Yes.
And DeJuan's on the roster.
And this is the Bill. Me and Bill. You of course, you're just gonna. Bill's head's gonna get even bigger now because here you are saying that he's been talking about. He keeps texting me. He's like, if DeJuan can survive.
Bill's logical. That's nothing.
Give me 4 weeks of DeJuan, and I can make Max Ihenacore work.
That's what he's been saying. 4 to 6 weeks, and then we're good. But yes, okay. You know what? Take this. You know what? I wasn't gonna put this mean comment on the screen, but I am. MC says, great point for a change case.
Hey, I'm just glad that MC could join us because this is the 3rd time he's joined us where we've been on past his bedtime.
Yeah. The other day he was drinking Metamucil and warm milk, and then he had his uncle's moonshine on Friday is what he told us he was drinking on Friday. And takes me back, Case. You grew up in these hills around here, the moonshine around here.
We'll make a man of you.
Yeah. Good Lord, my late grandfather, God rest his soul, man, that dude, you could peel the paint off a car. Jeff, I've had enough of your shit. I've seen you in the comments, and I had enough.
I love it.
All damn day.
Thank you, Jeff.
He's been.
We got to talk about Jeff's trajectory. I mean, this guy went from a quarterback guru to the other day he was a running back guru, and now he's a wide receiver guru. This guy's just racking them all up, dude. He's like Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
He just every time I flip on, he's a guru of something else.
Yeah. So my whole big thing with Max Ihenacore is I don't think he gets to 24.
Okay.
You look at it, there's Arizona. So I'm going to start all the way top to bottom. Arizona, Giants, Cleveland at 6, Kansas City at 9, Rams at 13, Detroit at 17, Carolina at 19, Pittsburgh at 21, Philly at 23. That's 9 teams before you get to Cleveland at 24 that have some form of a need of offensive tackle, whether it's left, right, or both.
And it becomes really interesting that Spencer Fano's measurements were worse than I thought they were. And teams even asked him to take snaps at center today at the combine.
Yes.
And so if you are starting to potentially look at Fano, who I have had as a tackle this whole time, there are a good amount of the teams that are now looking at him and going, this is an interior. Well, there's one less tackle that goes before Max, potentially, because and some of these teams may elect to say, hey, we're okay with we have a tackle need, but we feel better about the guards on the board, and we'll worry about that part of our offensive line. Like, so that's a possibility too. But
and defensive players, I mean, there's a lot of defensive players that are making runs at being, first top half of the first round type guys, and that would push someone back our way.
I think for sure that, like, if I and I am a betting man, if you were to ask me if the top 10 like positions and things like that, I would say I have a feeling that the top 10 is mostly defense. More than half of those people are defense. I would say, like, obviously Mendoza goes 1. There's probably an offensive lineman in there. There's probably maybe an offensive lineman or 2, and maybe one of the wide receivers. And then I think at least 6 or 7 of those picks are defense.
Yeah.
In the top 10.
I would say you probably are at probably 4 of the 10 are offense. You have Mendoza, you have an offensive lineman, you have a wide receiver, and you have Jeremiah Love. I think Love finds his way somewhere to either Washington, New Orleans, or Kansas City.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Which team do you think is most likely to take a chance on Bailey?
It feels like it's I've heard a lot of Jets guys say it.
I've heard a lot of I think Jets go Reeser style.
Yeah.
If I'm saying Bailey, I think it's Tennessee at 4 or the Giants at 5.
Tennessee, I think, makes a lot of sense there with Saleh, and they just got Jermaine Johnson, so they can kind of deploy him a little bit differently than some of the other teams. If the Giants move Kayvon Thibodeau, and they're shopping Kayvon Thibodeau, so that could be somewhere.
Let's go back to that real quick. Are you guys surprised? Because after they kicked off the Jets, the Devondre Sweat for Johnson trade, I thought it was kind of going to open the floodgates a little bit. And that jar, the lid stayed on the jar for all that. I'm sure you were hearing stuff left and right, Bill, of people that are on the trading block. Are you surprised there wasn't more movement this weekend?
Yeah, no, it was one of the things that we all talked about in Indy, that once that first trade came through the wire, everybody was like, hey, we're going to start seeing him. But the issue was a lot of teams were trying to get draft capital traded with it, and a lot of teams were trying to get future capital because everybody knows
they want 27 capital, not this 26.
They want 27 capital, not just 26. But there's still a lot of names on the trade block, that are out there being discussed. Kayvon Thibodeau, DJ Moore. You have the other quarterbacks: Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, Tua Tagovailoa. The Colts have potentially, Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones. How are they going to go through those trades? So there's a lot of vets that are available for trade. It's just everybody's playing this big game of chicken, and that's what the entire conversation was this week in Indy.
Yeah, and I can corroborate. Mostly it was you, Bill, getting the information, but I checked into with a few people that I know, and it was the same thing. Everybody's like, yep, get ready. By the end of this weekend, we're going to see a couple of moves, and not just Browns. And
that's not to say that these things weren't set up at the combine that are going to come to fruition later. I just figured a couple of things would get hammered out, but I think that goes to speak to the way people are viewing this class, really, of not wanting to, leverage assets in 26. Everybody wants to position themselves for next year.
And nobody wants to give up next year's capital until, which is interesting because I think the top of this draft is actually a little bit better than we gave it credit for. And then we saw some of these day 3 guys test like really, really good athletes. And day 3 guys are guys that you take chances on traits, something you can develop. So I thought that kind of brought up the basement of this class a little bit over this. And we saw it by the fact that every single position group outside of quarterback, which I don't give a shit about quarterbacks 40s, But every other position set a record for their position in the 40-yard dash. So that shows you that maybe this basement isn't as low as we thought. Obviously, teams are still wanting to look at getting some capital next year. So that still shows them, you know what I mean? That still shows that in a sense that they believe it, but maybe the basement isn't quite as, it might be low, but it's not quite as low. I think as we went into it. Jake, brother. Brother, we love you. We appreciate you. Jake's been out there busting his ass. He said he was tired. He was ready to get out there and start his fitness journey, and he's been doing some badass shit.
Hell yeah,
man's been walking like crazy,
rucking his ass off, giving me PTSD every time he sends us a in the group chat. He'll be like, "I just did this ruck," and I'm like, I got hurt on a couple of ruck marches. Not to the point where I ever like missed time, but that ruck marches are why I've got some of the joint issues that I have today. Let's just in jumping out of trucks to do ruck marches with all that shit on me is why I think there's like one piece of cartilage between my two knees combined or some shit. Like, I don't know. It's probably
well, that means there's one piece between me and you both then.
Yeah, there you go. Every time I go up and down the stairs, that's all you hear. It's just click, 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 click. And it doesn't hurt. My wife's like, does it hurt? And I'm like, eh. So every
Not
time
till it rains.
Yeah. But let's talk about some of the wide receiver performances that we had here. And I wanted to start it off by talking about Carnell Tate. So Jeff said I walked to the kitchen to get Dr. Pepper, so I'm pretty tired. But anyway, it's just funny because sometimes that happens. I get up and I'm like quickly making a drink. I'm out of breath. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm only 35 too. Like, what are we doing here? I want to start about Carnell Tate, and it just there's a rule in scouting. Don't count something twice. And it goes both ways. So if you are looking at a player and you say, man, that player is fast, and then he goes to the combine and he runs really, really fast. Well, we already knew he was fast.
Yeah.
You don't move him up because of that. Maybe he does just shatter what you thought, and maybe he moves up just a smidge because of it. Yeah. But like you already knew that was part of his scouting report.
Yeah, you just described love for me.
Right.
Like a Brennan Thompson type of guy, like a 4.26, you're going to go up a couple spots.
But like Jeremiah Love, yeah, I knew you could do that. I knew he was going to do that. Even Brennan Thompson, I knew he was going to do that. We talked to Damian Parson of Bleacher Report a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, he might break the record. So like we were going into it knowing that. Yeah. We went into it understanding that Carnell Tate has good speed, but he's not a burner. We figured 4.5s, low 4.5s. I thought maybe he could hit 4.49. I thought maybe. But that was going to be his absolute best was 4.49. And he runs a 4.54. That's what the tape shows. Can you stretch? Can you still win deep downfield with a 4.54 speed? Yeah, I watched him do it. I watched him do it.
Puka Nacua do it every week.
Yeah. He ran. Guess who ran a 4.5? I think he ran a 4.56. You know who ran a 4.56 or a 4.54? It was 1 and 2. T. Higgins. CeeDee Lamb ran a 4.5 flat.
Yep.
So if Carnell Tate's who you thought he was, that he's still my wide receiver one. If we're going to, we do not count it twice. We knew he wasn't a burner. We knew he wasn't a blazer. Just like you don't move people up that are fast that you already knew were fast. You don't move people down because they show you that they're, I'm not going, hey man, go route Carnell. Go. Yeah. If we get him in the slot and go down the seam, things like that. Yeah. He can do those sorts of things, but he's not like, that's not strictly his thing. Like, it's just it kind of annoyed the shit out of me because when we watched him in the drills and you watch, he looked like the guy I saw on tape. And so I think the Carnell Tate slander from the combine is stupid.
I got a Carnell Tate question for you boys.
Okay.
Rank his route tree. Give me his top 3. What are his top 3 routes? If you were to describe him, what can he make money with right now in the league?
This is something we haven't seen happen in Cleveland in forever.
I think I got a dig on here, do we?
He's got a backside dig from hell.
We got a backside.
He's such a smooth route runner, and his change of direction is just so – he does such a good job of selling out a fake. Like, and so that backside dig, like he'll give you a little like shoulder wiggle, like he's just going to go vertical, like he's going to run and then just and on the backside. I would say that's good. Tyson is an IR player. Oh, that was mean.
He had a big week. Just his medicals being clean was a huge thing. I don't know why the fuck he didn't test if his medicals.
That's weird to me. Is that he didn't test? So I was like, oh fuck, the medicals must not. And then Bill texts me and he's like, he got a clean bill of health, and I'm like, then why the hell wasn't he out there? Just do something.
Have you seen the controversy of his bench press reps? We've been talking to Jordan Tyson.
They're bullshit. Off that bench, son.
Dude,
ass up off. Yeah, every single rep was the ass bouncing motion. I couldn't count a single one that counted.
Brother, I was at the gym bench pressing when I saw the video. I'm not even kidding you.
No.
That being said, I can't put it up 26 times, so it's like
neither could I.
But he was, those were wild.
I mean that like, and I actually read I saw a post that it is specifically in the NFL like guidelines for that event that the butt must remain on.
Yeah, you can bounce. You can't like hinge at the.
You can arch your back.
Yeah. Well, you need to retract your shoulder blades just to protect yourself a little bit, but like, you can't do that with your ass. That's a no-no.
Yeah. So on Carnell Tate, I think he runs a really good post because just the backside dig in the post, because again, it's the type of route runner that he is. He's such a smooth route runner. He glides across the field. He's not a burner, but he has enough speed where you do need to respect those deep routes. And then change direction. Really, anything change of direction, some comebacks. I think comeback, an outside comeback route going up, anything where he can sell one thing and do another one. That's where it's really at for me, because I think his change of direction is special.
Yep, and that's right. That's where I'm at. For me, I think my favorite route is his post route, the bang route, out 9 and go to the corner of the goalpost. I think that's his best one because he just leaves people in the dust. But like anything in the intermediate part of the field, and folks, we have to. And I'm glad Jacob talked about it with his 40 time. You guys know who else ran a 4.53 at the combine?
Oh shit, I know. I saw the list, but the only ones I can remember were CD and T. Higgins.
So 2 names. Number 1, Mike Thomas, New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
Cedric Tillman.
Oh,
how many times do people talk about, well, Cedric moves really well for a guy his size? If you give it to Cedric, give it to Carnell.
Yes. Bite me. Also, Makai, my dude, why was you acting like a snake?
So I'm going to jump in here because there's a difference between how you act and media training. Right. One of the big things that agents will do with their people that they represent,
training.
Yeah, they spend 3 to 4 to 5 weeks where they sit you down in front of a camera and they say, this is how you act, this is how you respond. From when I see that shows me that the advice he got was, hey, act a little off-putting. Hey, act a little rough like sandpaper, and let's push you down the board a bit to a better situation.
Yeah. Let's get you to Buffalo somehow. That's
my favorite.
Let's get you to Baltimore. Let's
which sucks.
To New Orleans,
because Lemon's my favorite receiver, and it was just like he had a rough weekend.
Yeah.
But the tape's still the tape. But yeah, you can't bomb interviews like that. This is what the combine is. It's medicals and interviews. We do the on-field stuff, but those are the 2 things because they already have all the stuff on you, man. They have everything you've ever done on a football field. They can review that. But they need to sit down with you and see where you're at as a player and if you have the mental makeup to be a good professional.
The one box that I did love, and this was during Mekhi Lemon's interviews, someone asked him, like, hey, how do you handle being a smaller player on the field? And he said, paraphrasing, that this is how I feed my family, and no one else that lines up across from me is going to take that away from me. That's dog mentality.
Motivation. Yeah, he would the tape. He is a dog all on tape, man. That is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me think. Do you know what I was most frustrated with yesterday at the combine? Drew Aller, because he's out there looking like the guy we all dreamed he could be. And it pissed me off because I'm like, because Corey Kinnan even said it in the Discord. He was like, dude, he's low-key slinging that thing out there. And I'm like, I know. And this is why I'm so frustrated by him as a prospect, because he'll go out there and do that stuff in shorts and, or even for a handful of plays in a game. But I'm like, what? Why can't you put it together? Because physically you have everything you need.
But you know what? This is the most annoying thing, and this is what I've seen people say. Yeah, he's after that performance, he's quarterback 2. He should be a top 50 prospect. Folks, if you think a quarterback throwing routes on air improves their stock in any way, shape, or form, no. Because you know who the best thrower of routes on air is I've ever seen in my 10 years of doing this?
Paxton
Will
Lynch.
Levis.
Oh.
Mayo.
Johnny was good too.
Johnny had a hell of
Johnny
a time. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
So, like, and I'm with Jacob, like, you see it from Drew Aller, and you're like, why hasn't the light bulb clicked on yet? But when you're looking at quarterbacks, and I'm going to hop up on my soapbox, you want to take a guy who you can develop, who you can build around. And for me, that's Taylon Green, dude. Like 6'6", 227, 4.36 40, like 1.5.
Yeah, I saw your eye twitch a little bit when Jacob said he don't care about quarterback 40 times. I saw Bill's eye twitch just a little bit.
Like a 4.36 40-yard dash for a quarterback is just otherworldly.
It is.
Like,
it is. Especially at that size, because he's not a little guy. He's not a little guy, a little track star out there.
No. Anthony Richardson ran a 4.43 and he was 6'3", 244.
Right.
Like, he was faster than Richardson. So all the credit you give to Anthony Richardson for being this guy who can make plays off schedule, who can be an explosive quarterback, which is what Todd Monken is seeking. Mm-hmm. Taylon Green. But, like, I get it. I see the picture with Drew Aller. The problem is we've been asking to see this picture for 3 years now, and it's still developing at your
Well,
local
that's why
studios.
I'm pissed. That's why I'm pissed, because it was another example of like, hey, why aren't you taking that into the game situations? That's what pissed me off about it, was I'm like, here we are again, where I'm like, yep, he's got the size, he's got the arm, he's got the experience, and yet when I watch him in a game, his inconsistency is just like, and he just like poops all down his leg, and it just frustrated the hell out of me. But like, one thing I do know is people in general are getting way more athletic and fast, and I'm just like, I'm watching this, I'm like, this is. I really liked the offensive line class today. I thought they had a pretty good day. Maui Noah didn't test, but we got the length measurements on Maui Noah, and his all the other measurements, and they all checked out. And you're like, yep, great. Still think he probably goes 3 to the Cardinals, if we're being honest. That's probably which means Freeling's there at 6.
There you go. And you know what? Another name that I watched and I was like, what in the hell am I seeing here with offensive tackle, and in a good way? Markel Bell from Miami. 6'9", 342, 346, 87-inch wingspan.
Yeah.
And a 1.10 yard split.
Yeah. And And like when he got going after that 10-2, it was like that dude's gonna run right through a wall. Like he's like he's kind of rough. Like I still think there's a lot of work to do, but like if you're on day 3 and you're like, hey man, like I'm not planning on playing you this year, like I thought his stock rose a bit.
And
you
the Browns love that type of tackle because 2 other tackles they've taken, James Hudson, Cincinnati, DeJuan Jones, both had similar 40 times to Markel Bell. Like that's what they love. They love big dudes who can move.
I just think the big dude that can move. I knew Monroe Freeling would test really, really well. Goes out there, start doing mock drafts. I'm doing a post mock draft, post combine mock draft, and he's absolutely the 6th overall pick in that draft. Just so it's clear. Like, I think he plays right away. The only thing is, gotta improve, get a little bit stronger in the run game, and then I think you've got it. That's what I saw. Casey, anything else you saw from the combine, or any other questions or anything you want to bring up?
Yeah, kind of. We talk about Freeling at 6. Okay, say the world, because I think the other sentiment that came out of this week is the Browns would absolutely love to be able to trade back. Takes 2 to tango. What possible prospects do you see that could put them in that position where someone might come up?
I think Styles and Reese being there. If one of Styles or Reese is there at 6, especially like, because those guys really showed up. I was going to say for a while I thought Downs, but depending on this injury flag that came out and him not testing, we'll see what happens come pro day, Ohio State's pro day, and see if he goes out there and tests there, because that could just put everything back into place, because he's one of the ones as well. But for me, if Styles or Reese are there at 6, that those guys feel like trade up, a couple of the few ones that teams would be listening to.
Yeah, I would also say some combination of Reuben Bain and David Bailey if they slide, because you're looking at teams like the Saints at 8, the Bengals at 10 could use some help on the pass rush or the interior. The one name I'll never continue to count out is Jeremiah Love, especially with Dallas. And we know Jerry loves runners. He's taken a running back top 5. Yes, they did just re-sign Javonte Williams, but I think that's probably your most likely trade candidate for some form of Styles, Reese, Downs, Bailey, Bain, or Love. One of those 6 prospects getting to 6, which is possible. It's just which one. You call up Jerry, get either 12 and 20 or 12 and a 2027 pick, and you slide back.
Yeah, that's what I would guess. Anything else from you, Bill, as we hit our 1 hour mark here?
No, I think it's going to be a very fun draft season, especially as we kind of move through everything. The one name that I will continue to mention that I think deserves more love than what he's gotten here recently, Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati, wide receiver. I mean, dude just went out there on a tear, especially at 6'5", 216, and then you run a 4.3 40. You're moving and grooving at that size.
Yeah, that one was not expected for me. I did not.
I do have a question for each of you before we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Give me your day 3, your best case scenario for a dart throw in day 3 that you think could be a sleeper. Make an impact.
There's a number of wide receivers. Let me look at it. It's always like the easy answer is Taylon Green, the quarterback, just because the raw tools. But he might move up. I would say Ted Hurst, but people really like Ted Hurst, and he may not. Yeah. He may not make it to day 3. I Again, another guy that might not make it, but is still, because of the jumping competition, Bryce Lance. Like if Bryce Lance, the wide receiver from North Dakota State, size, speed, like athleticism, really great combination. He's got to make a double jump coming from the FCS to the NFL, so it might take a little bit, but I would say Bryce Lance is probably the guy for me that I think, like, if you're telling me in 5 years that Bryce Lance is a number one wide receiver for someone, I would go, okay, yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go corner. It's a guy I've liked a lot. I don't have him day 3. I think he's day 2, but I think if somebody else slide to day 3. Washington corner Tacario Davis. I mean, 6'3", 7'8", so almost 6'4", 194 pounds. Almost an 81-inch wingspan. Dude lives and thrives in man coverage and press coverage. The question was, 6'3", 195 pounds, how fast are you going to be? He 4.41 as a 40 time is good enough for a guy of that size. And I mean, if you told me somewhere along the way he ends up as someone's corner 2, maybe even a corner 1.5, like he's got to cover corner 1 duties for a couple of weeks, I'm all for that on day 3.
All right, Bill, you got to give it to me. Who's your comp? I know you got it.
So with Tacario Davis, my comp is Reek Woolen, Seattle Seahawks corner.
Do you want mine?
Hit it. MJ.
That's what I see. I see Martin Emerson.
At first, you were pointing to the poster of Joe Thomas behind you. I was confused for a split second.
Yeah, I know.
The logo's covering up the 23 for me.
There we go.
Yeah.
And just a question here over here to the side. We will be live for every second of the draft.
Absolutely.
Every second. I hit it again. Tyron Montgomery's a good one. I like Tyler Montgomery.
Yeah.
John Carroll. Yeah. That's not a guy I ever see being a wide receiver 1 necessarily. Yeah, I really shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. But do I think he's a contributor? Yes.
He's like a KJ Osborne type of receiver. If you need him to be wide receiver 1 for a game, you're good. But like long term, he's your wide receiver 2.
He should be a contributor. You should plan on him being a contributor. And if he goes out and balls out in a couple of games here and there, you're going to go, look at what he does. Guys, seriously, ton of people tuning in for this live show. We are eternally grateful for every single one of you. We've put out a lot of content recently, and we've gotten a lot of love and support back. So we really appreciate you guys. We'll be back on Tuesday with a live draft show, and it could be one of any 6 ideas because me and Bill cannot, and we're not fighting about it. We just keep coming up with different ideas, and neither one of us can figure out which one we like the most. So, we'll figure that shit out. Also, side note, D'Angelo Pons is a dog.
100%.
Chris said that in the comments, and he's 100% right. I don't give a shit how small D'Angelo Pons is. I take him day 2, and I don't have any fucking problem doing that. That's all I want to say. We love you guys. We will see you guys again on Tuesday night.